All right, and we're live. Welcome to Business Houston podcast. I'm your host, Matt Bertram. I have John Ofield here, the president, founder, CEO of Rosi Office Systems and Collaborators Office Furniture. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Matt. How you doing?
Pretty good. Well, John,
Great.
just to get started, I know you service the small and medium-sized business market here in Houston and beyond. And if you could maybe share with us how you got started in the business and what it is your business does best.
Absolutely, Matt. No problem. Well, I grew up here in Houston, Texas, and I went to Rice University. And when I got out of Rice University, I went to work for a friend of mine who was the right-hand man of a guy that owned Finger Furniture Company, which was a huge residential and contract furniture company. And I always knew I wanted to own my own business. So I worked there for about 6 or 7 years. And then I started my first company in 1993. And so that was a remanufacturing company, which remanufactured cubicles for about half the price of new cubicles and sold them to companies that just didn't have the money for brand new office furniture. So we've evolved over the years. And what we do is we target companies that are moving, upgrading, or expanding with office furniture and the related services that go with that. So our market ranges from the mid-market, which is a small group of people, maybe 5 or 10 people that are starting a company and don't want to spend a ton of money on furniture, all the way up to a 10,000 employee company that really wants to invest in their environment to attract and retain the top level talent in the market. We've got 2 showrooms. We've got one in Greenway Plaza, which is kind of our high-end showroom that really kind of creates a Google look for companies. And then we've also got a showroom in Stafford, which is that showroom for the mid-market, which is smaller companies that really want to purchase furniture on a budget, but also purchase furniture that's consistent, looks good, and will last for 10 or 20 years. So that's who we are, and we're attacking the Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and other markets around the country.
That's fantastic. I'm actually a client.
Absolutely. And
furniture,
9 years.
Furniture looks great. I really love it. I love your showroom. I encourage people to go check it out. How has
You just froze up a little bit on me, Matt.
kind of COVID? You hear me? All right. I lost you there for a second. Hopefully
Hey,
we're back. All right.
No
A little technical issues here. So, I know it could be COVID. I don't know. It's attacking, it's attacking everything. Right. I loved coming into your showroom and checking out all the different furniture. I mean, I know you do design consultations. I mean, how has kind of that changed? How is that process effective? I know even last time I was in your office, there was kind of some plexiglass dividers. And I think that there's a lot of businesses out there that are still trying to figure out how to operate in COVID and with COVID going on. So
there absolutely is. And so we've got a COVID compliant showroom in both of our locations. And what we're doing with tons of companies is we're going in and providing a complimentary COVID proofing of their office. And so we know the CDC guidelines for the office environment like the back of our hand. And so we understand what companies need to do to create a safe environment for their employees. And so we have plexiglass, we have dividers, we have floor to ceiling, glass demountable walls. So we've got all the different examples of what companies need to do in their own office to reset their work environment. We've seen one of the #1 things that people are worrying about when they come back to work is safety. And so as a business owner thinks about that, what they've got to do is they've got to create a COVID compliant, safe environment, which will have people come in, they'll be able to relax, and they'll be able to be productive again. So we're offering those. If any BBB members are looking for that, we're doing a complimentary COVID analysis of their office environment, and we'll make recommendations to them based on the CDC guidelines, so they can be, in the right protocol, if you will, for when they bring employees back.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you also started Virus Assassins, which is a cleaning component for those offices, because I know when my staff was coming back, that was one of the biggest concerns is, is this safe? Is this where I can be relaxed and work? And like, is it somewhat normal? And, wearing masks, and there's a lot of considerations that happen. And, having an office cleaned, making sure, tell me a little bit about that. Like the chemicals you use, how they clean COVID, I think there's some real interesting stuff.
Yeah, the early research that was coming out of China and then out of the United States as well is coronavirus could live on glass and plastic laminate and stainless steel for up to 72 hours, waiting for a host to come in contact with it, which then someone puts their hands in their face, and then all of a sudden they're now exposed to the virus. So what we did is we purchased some electrostatic equipment, which sprays an EPA-approved chemical that actually kills the coronavirus germ in commercial, healthcare, and education environments. So it's really cool. We go in there and we can treat an area in about 15 to 30 minutes, and after an hour, that place is disinfected, sanitized, and deodorized, and actually safe. We're getting tons of calls from clients that have had a COVID event in their office. And then we spring into action. Our actual virus assassins show up in these white suits, and then they clean these environments. And so it really creates a sense of a calmness in the environment, because people are pretty freaked out when someone's been in there that's had COVID. And so we go in there and we cleanse the environment. Everybody totally relaxes. It smells completely pristine clean when we're done. And it's also disinfected and sanitized. And so it's been a really cool business that we've pivoted to in this time. We're working with a lot of building managers as well, where we're spraying a lot of common areas, bathrooms, elevator lobbies, elevator buttons, to create these spaces where people feel comfortable when they come back. A lot of companies are going to be coming back in January, many more in April. And so this is only going to grow as people come back to work. Also, we all know that there's some anti-vaxxers out there that are not going to take the vaccine, and that's going to create some issues inside of offices. So what these people should be doing is they should be bringing in this deep cleaning service that's electrostatically applied, that really takes that environment and cleans it out. We've all seen the commercials for Southwest Airlines, United Airlines, and we've seen countries all over the world with guys walking, spraying these electrostatic spray guns. And they're using that because the technology is basically the most productive way to get a full cleanse of an environment. So we've got the technology, we've got the assassins to do the work. So if anybody needs that service, give us a holler.
Yeah, John, tell me a little bit about, we were talking in the pre-interview about kind of the shift in the market. Like, so there's people are starting to move back into the office. And so, tell me a little bit about the companies you're working with and the mindset that small and medium-sized businesses has as they're expanding. Because actually, we got moved out of our location by a company expanding and taking over the whole floor, and we had to get relocated, right? So there's really a lot of an expansion happening, but also there's also a lot of people that are working from home, and you do offer like home office furniture too. So can you talk about some of the trends in the industry, and if someone's on the fence of like, hey, do I want to go fully virtual, or or I need to expand because my business is still doing well and I need to grow? Like, what are some of those considerations? Like, what are you seeing if someone's trying to make that decision?
Absolutely. So what we're seeing, there's going to be about a 20 to 25% work from home component going forward. Many times that's not a full-time work from home component, but there'll be companies bringing employees in while others are at home, and then switching it back and forth to create less density inside the office environment. But many companies have also figured out, hey, I can be just as productive at home as I am at work in an office. And so that's going to create some creative destruction, if you will, within the real estate market. But we also see many companies, actually like our company, which is a highly collaborative company, where ideas are created between two people, and then a meeting happens, and then all of a sudden we have an initiative that we're laying out to our clients. That's really difficult to create that synergy in a work from home environment. So we've seen some productivity loss in highly collaborative type situations. For us, we have a full design staff that works with our clients that create these really super cool 2D and 3D drawings. And it's really difficult, that's a very highly collaborative process. It's very difficult to execute that when everybody is sitting at home. And so the trends are 20 to 25% work from home component going forward. But we see a ton of companies that want to get back into the office.
Yeah.
Companies that are coming back, though, if they have a lot of furniture where everybody is sitting really close to each other without any barriers, they're getting rid of that furniture, or they're putting really tall screens in between everybody, because going forward, this virus is not going to go away. It's still going to be part of our world, and we've got to protect our employees. And so there's a ton of change going on there. That's kind of our COVID compliant type analysis that we're doing. So we've got that work from home component. We've got the office environment that's going to change. It's actually going to very much de-densify is what's going to happen. Because this is an aerosol-based virus, actually 6 feet apart sometimes is not enough.
Wow.
And so we're creating these different environments where we can really separate people out. People feel productive, they feel safe, and everybody can get back to work.
That's interesting, John. So like, I just thought about it. If people are having to be more spread out, right, and 25% of people are working from home, you can still utilize the same amount of office space. It's just going to have to be laid out in a different capacity. So that's interesting. So, one of the things that I've also seen is like people are kind of shifting how they're doing marketing, how they're positioning themselves. You've talked about some of the different things that you're doing. I mean, being an accredited BBB member, how do you feel that that's kind of helped your business, and why do you think that that's important?
It's extremely important to us. So we're very fortunate that about 10 years ago, we really leaned hard into the digital space when it came to marketing. We shifted all of our traditional marketing spend to digital spend. We really worked hard creating an amazing amount of blog information online. And so think about it. If I'm an accredited member of the BBB, I've already got the stamp of approval, if you will, as a solid organization based on reviews and things that we've done to become accredited with the BBB. So when someone is online looking for a furniture vendor, they find us, they see our BBB accredited status, and that automatically gives us power and influence over someone that's not accredited. And so if you combine this digital presence online, which we really, really focus on, plus this BBB accreditation, that together creates a lot more separation from us and our competitors. So it's really, really helped us. What we see is a future trend. Think about it. If you're a outside salesperson and you typically walk up and knock on a door and want to walk in, it's not going to happen for the next year or 2 years. Yeah. How offices are being designed, there's literally a barrier between the front door and all the employees. So you have to have a strong digital presence to be able to get through this pandemic and then grow after the pandemic when your competition does not have a strong digital presence. So for us, we look at BBB accreditation as just adding steroids to our online presence. So when someone finds us, then they see that BBB accreditation. We're way ahead of the game at that point. So that's our focus moving forward.
No, I can totally see that. I think that, what we've seen too is a shift of people maybe had a strong sales force and maybe door to door, right? Direct sales. And they've had to shift that to maybe take maybe your lowest performing salesperson and converting that into digital spend and into videos. We're seeing a lot of like virtual showrooms and things of that nature happening. Let me ask you, what would be like the best business advice that you could share with other small and medium-sized business owners in kind of today's climate that has helped you succeed?
It's a great question, and I think this is a really good idea for small and mid-sized companies. We had really a hard time going and making presentations to clients. They'd want us to email them the presentation or set up a Zoom call. And sometimes Zoom calls no one can get together all at the same time. So we have started doing Loom calls. And if you don't know what Loom is, go online and check it out. I actually learned about Loom from my daughter, who works for JLL. And so now all the proposals that go out of our company are done on a platform called Loom. And what Loom is you create this really cool presentation, but there's an audio feed within the presentation that can be opened through email. And instead of someone just reading a proposal, literally our sales consultant is walking that person step by step through the proposal. It creates a much more emotional connection to our proposal and our solution. And it's really, really helped us close a lot more business. So my advice would be, go set up a Loom account. It's $10 a month. It's super cheap, but it takes your proposal from this drab email with an attachment to kind of a live event with a person walking you through it. And I think that's a huge separator for people.
No, I actually love Loom. We use Loom. The Chrome extension's super easy. You can just click on it and start recording. I think that's a fantastic business tip for all the small and medium-sized business owners out there. John, is there anything that we missed as we're wrapping up? How do people get in contact with you? Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience that you feel that we might have missed in this interview today?
Yeah, what I would say to people out there is everybody's nervous right now. And there's a lot of anxiety about bringing employees back, or a lot of employees are anxious about coming back to work. If you really want to get your hands around that and need an expert to really come in and really create an environment that's COVID compliant, give us a call. Go to our website, www.collaborative-interiors.com or www.rosiinc.com, or submit a form or give us a call from there. We'll set up a time to come walk through your office. It's really a time where we all need to come together and kind of get through this next 3 or 4 months when these vaccinations roll out. We all know the economy needs to get going again. And to get the economy going again, people need to come to the office and work. There's so many industries that are being damaged by this. And so hopefully once everyone's vaccinated, we can get through this. But if you're really worried about your office environment, or if you have a bunch of furniture that's wide open and you want to put cubicles in there, we have tons of companies currently right now that are replacing these open benching environments with really cool cubicles with glass on top of them that look really modern and progressive. And so if you need that, give us a holler. We'd love to help you.
Fantastic. Well, John, you've been a great guest. Thank you so much for being on Business Houston Podcast.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right. Bye now.